Oh, yeah, it was just a glitch. Yeah, just a glitch in the paperwork there that it was supposed to say federal exchanges, not state exchanges. Well, the soft rollout to the Soviet Union continues. We have a federal court panel yesterday. They say that the subsidies are illegal. They rule 2-1 because the law clearly states that it has to come from the state exchange, not a federal exchange. That may have had an impact on the first 43 administrations in this country. But to this administration, no big deal at all. Couple hours later, another federal court, they go the opposite way. Now it'll have to be appealed. And the administration says, in the meantime, don't worry at all. Your subsidies are fine. We won't pay attention to them at all. It's a great, open, and transparent government that we have. Hello, how are you? Welcome. I am the young Republican Jeff Harbaugh. You can follow me on Twitter at GeoffYoungRepub. That's GEOFF Young Repub. And let me get into this whole it's a glitch thing. Oh, yeah, it's a glitch. And I want to talk about the 36 states that opted to not set up exchanges. And it's not because they were lazy, like the idiots on MSNBC tried to say. Hey, did you believe that? Do you know that that's the argument, is they were too lazy to be able to set up their own exchanges? Well, a lot of Democrat states, too. A lot of Democrat strongholds didn't want to set up the state exchanges. New Jersey, Michigan, Illinois, Pennsylvania. Now, why do you think they didn't set up the state exchanges? Well, it's very simple, and it's two simple things that you need to realize. The first thing, Romneycare, that was put into effect in Massachusetts, and this is worse than Romneycare, but before Romneycare, the state of Massachusetts, like the average of most states, they spent 25 cents of every dollar that they spent went to healthcare spending. What do they spend now? And this should be the number that the Republicans are just hounding on. 40 cents now of every dollar. So 25 cents of every dollar was spent before Romneycare on healthcare. Now it's 40 cents of every dollar. It's going to cripple states. Well, that's not really that big of a deal because the subsidies are coming from the federal government. The majority of the Medicaid and expansion, that's being funded by the federal government. Well, here's a part that nobody likes to talk about when that comes up. That was the same thing in 1965 when Medicaid was initially implemented. The federal government paid almost all or almost the total amount of spending, and the states were on the hook for almost nothing. Well, as that time went on, 1982, Arizona, they were finally the last state. They held out. They were the last state to be able to sign on to Medicaid. Well, now we look at it, and the states, they are responsible for 40% of the Medicaid spending. They have to cover on their own. Now, you don't think the same thing is going to happen here? Do you not think that the federal government is going to shift the money to the states to be able to pay for the subsidies, to be able to pay for the extra Medicaid spending? And then I'm supposed to believe that, oh, yeah, this was just a glitch. They happened to put state exchanges in there, but it was really supposed to be federal. Yeah, right. This is the whole intention of Obamacare, too. So it's just a point that needs to be pointed out. Not just losing your plan, not just losing your doctor, not just your premiums skyrocketing, not just co-payments skyrocketing, not just federal debt that it's going to add to. The future is going to entail states are going to have to massively raise taxes to be able to pay for this. Yeah, I mean, it's just math. If states are paying 25 cents of every dollar before on healthcare spending, now they have to spend 40 cents of every dollar. Programs are going to get cut, and taxes are going to go up as well. So that's the other part of Obamacare that is coming down the pike. So don't tell me, oh, yeah, it was a glitch. It was never a glitch. You mean to tell me that that part was a glitch? Oh, yeah, we got the two words screwed up. Federal and state? Yeah, right. And the other reason that this was in there is because when they do the long-term projections of what it's going to cost, they can say, oh, yeah, it's not going to really add very much to the debt at all. It's only going to add like $1 trillion over 10 years. That's what we heard in the beginning. Now, a couple of years afterwards, we heard, well, you know what? It's actually going to be more like $2 trillion. It's going to cost the federal government. Oh, I wonder why that is. That's because they're covering the subsidies, not the states. Then we hear, oh, you know what? Maybe it's even going to cost $3 trillion every 10 years. Why is that? Oh, geez, I wonder why. Because the federal government is paying the subsidies, not the states. So that's exactly why this wasn't a glitch. Because after the law went through, they could run around and say, oh, look, it's not even going to cost that much money at all. Yeah, right. Actually, it is. And two, eventually they will start shifting the burden because they have to the states. And I hope you Democrats are proud of this law. I hope you are. I hope you are proud of the way that this has been sold to the public. Lie after lie after lie after lie. Deceitful, hiding behind any type of law that they can, exemptions pushing off, changing things. They will do whatever they have to do to keep this law alive. And the other story, where I got to get into this too later. Did you hear? This was I got to admit, this was a mistake on my part. I was very naive. Back in November, I talked about how the demise of Obamacare would come in September of this year. Because in October, when you had to fund the next fiscal year, the part of Obamacare that nobody likes to talk about is that Obamacare has told the insurance companies that there was going to be this massive increase of people signing up, which did not happen. So you were supposed to base the policies on the pools being bigger and being a lot of the young, which we know did not happen. So I predicted back in November, and I can tell you, I was very naive. Actually went with the fact that Obama, they would follow the actual law that they came up with and they wrote. And I figured that what was going to happen was they would, in September, have to request the additional money that was now going to be owed to the insurance companies because the total pool was not as large as they said it was going to be, or was it made up of healthy and young people? And in the law, they were going to owe massive subsidies to the insurance companies if the pool was not expanded and it was not young and healthy people. So I figured in September, the Democrats would have to request additional funding. And I thought that this would actually be a Republican win, that they could deny the funding because it was a law based upon lies. It was nothing about what it was really supposed to be about. It's a disaster. You couldn't even get a website up. However, the Obama administration has found a way around that. And let me grab that story. He is basically telling the insurance companies, he's basically trying to bribe them now because it's an election year, and he's telling them not to raise premiums because it's an election year. You know what? Here's the article. It's in Forbes magazine, and this is amazing. Just right out there, plain sight, the soft rollout of the Soviet Union continues. That and I tried to read this too. The regulatory update, and it's just a bunch of nonsense that doesn't make any sense. I got through about 30 pages, and I threw it out in the hallway. I couldn't even read it anymore. It didn't make any sense at all. So some people actually went through it. They tried to make sense of it, the 436-page update. Now, that's what they talk about with, oh, yeah, we're very transparent. They give you, like, something that could be done in about 5 or 6 pages. They put it in 430 pages to where you can't even understand what it is. And they can say, oh, yeah, we updated on you on all of that. Oh, yeah, it's all right out there in the open. Well, basically, they hinted around that the Director of Health and Human Services said, kind of asked the insurance companies to limit the increases that are coming in for your 2015 plan, which you'll start finding out about in October because it's an election year. So basically, they're saying, don't raise the insurance premiums, and then we'll bail you out. I'm telling you, in the lame duck session, there's going to be a bailout here, or Barry, he'll just do it on his own under executive order. It's absolutely incredible what they get away with. Bribing insurance companies. Could you imagine if George Bush did this? Bribing insurance companies so they could win an election, and then they're going to give you a bailout on the back end? Incredible. Now, how good is this law that if they've got to do a bailout to be able to deal with the insurance premiums that are coming? Plus, they've already raised a ton since it started. So that means that's good, too. So then you'll get the bailouts, which you pay for anyway. Then you're really going to get the back end on 2016 because you'll get the double increase. Your traditional increase and then the one that you missed out from 2015. Great law, great piece of legislation. fantastic administration, wonderful watchdog media as well.